This is probably the most heavily debated topic within photography. When are you allowed to highly edit a photo? So let's start by defining what I mean by heavily editing. Now this is any time you're changing or editing a photo to make it not true to reality. Say with a model, you make her skinnier, with a landscape, you maybe fake the sky. Things like that make it heavily edited so that the picture doesn't actually mimic what was true in reality. So I've got one photo in particular we're going to be looking at today. This is my photo Mist Over 2 Jack, and it is by far my favorite photo I've taken since starting photography. And why is it my favorite, you may ask? Well, you're gonna have to stick around to the end of the video to find out, or you could just skip ahead because it's an online video and, well, you can really do whatever you want here. Looking at the image, you can't really tell that it was highly edited. But if we look at the original image, you can tell that there was quite a lot of work done to it to get it to that final stage. Now let's go through the list of edits. I extended the reflection, faked the reflection, faked the haze, adjusted colors and tones to make everything look coherent, and upscaled the final image so that it was able to be printed or displayed on high-res screens. That's a pretty good list, and those of you that don't have a lot of editing experience may not understand why each of those was necessary, but we're going to go through each of them in a little bit more detail. First off, the extending the reflection. So the reason I had to do this was because when I shot it on location, I didn't really account for the space underneath the reflection, and honestly I didn't think this was going to be the final picture. As you can tell from the original shot, it was kind of just a random shot at the sky hoping for something. So Photoshop has a really good feature where you can adjust the crop and do an autofill and all that. But as good as Photoshop is, it couldn't fill it properly. You can see in the extended image that if you look in the corner where the trees are and even the sky, nothing really looks good. It's all kind of mudded looking and blurry, and you can tell that it was obviously faked. So then I had to go in and fake the reflection. Now this is done by flipping the image, masking the top, and then adding blurs and coloring gradients and all that to the flipped image to make it look more like a reflection in the water. Now again, the reason I had to flip it and do all and then fake that reflection, even though I didn't really want to, was because I needed that extra space below the mountain. Now onto the next point, because I faked the reflection, I then had to also fake the haze, because in the original photo, I really liked the look of that light haze over the lake, so I wanted that in the final photo, and the only way to get that in the final photo was to fake it after having faked the reflection. So you can start to see how one thing leads to another. So colors and tones are kind of a general editing that you would do to a photo. Now most people are kind of, yes, you can edit colors and all that in a photo, so it's more of an acceptable thing, and I don't really consider that to be part of the heavy editing, but it does add to it. As you can see in the original photo, the sky is quite blue. It doesn't look so much like a nice warm sunrise like in the final picture. It's more of kind of a cool early morning shot. So in the final image, I wanted that nice warm sunrise look, so I faked the colors, did tonal adjustments and all that to give you that nice warm pink sky and the shine on the mountain and all that. And our final point of upscaling, well, if you look at the original image, you can tell that I was not planning to use it really. It was just kind of a shot and moving on. What ended up being the final image is a very small portion of the original. And that's basically it. That is everything that was done to this photo to take it from the original to the final image. Now you're probably thinking, okay, so you spent all that time editing it and it doesn't really look that much different from the original other than maybe some colors and the reflection looks a little bit better, but overall it's still pretty much the same image. And that's kind of the point I want to convey with this video, is that if you decide that you want to heavily edit an image, do it in a way that is undetectable. At the end of the day, it's really up to you how much editing you do to your photos. Some people are purists and won't even touch the Lightroom or Photoshop because they think that it makes their photos look unrealistic. Well, other people just go and fake 90% of their photos with stock photos and crap like that to make everything just look their own way. So it's up to you if you want to edit or you don't want to edit, but if you decide to edit, do it in a way that is perfect. As the old saying goes, all good stories start with a truth of some kind. So you need to have that kind of base for your image in reality to make that faked area or that non-true area of your image look good, look realistic. The reason this is by far my favorite photo is because the way it is now is actually better than the memory I have of the location, the time, and all that. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about photography or graphic design, feel free to subscribe. as more of those videos will be coming up fairly soon. I've got some cool videos planned coming up sometime soon. I'm going on a backpacking trip next week where I'll be doing kind of vlogs of each of the days and a nighttime photography tutorial. So stick around if you're interested in that. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.